Hello class! Today I'm going to walk y'all through how your body breaks down and gets rid of food, which is something that we all do. Everybody does this every single day, but we don't really think about it, right? So we're going to go from the moment food enters your mouth all the way to the defecation reflex. So the whole journey. First, let's start with salivation, because digestion actually begins before you even swallow your food. Think about whenever you see or smell your favorite food, right? Like you walk into the Chinese restaurant, you smell the lo mein, and your mouth starts watering, or at least mine does. That's whenever your salivary glands get activated. And there are three main glands: the parotid glands, submandibular glands, and sublingual glands. And these glands produce saliva, which is mostly made up of water, but it also contains important things you need, like mucus, electrolytes, antibodies, and enzymes. The main enzyme here is called salivary amylase, which starts breaking down carbohydrates right away. Saliva also helps moisten food and turn it into a soft mass called a bolus, making it easier to swallow. That kind of sounds gross, but... And next is swallowing, which is also called deglutition, and this happens in 3 steps. So first is the voluntary phase, where you consciously push the bolus back into the back of your mouth. And then becomes the pharyngeal phase, which is involuntary, where the epiglottis closes your airway so food doesn't go into your lungs. Like, you ever take a bite of like rice and it literally feels like it's going into your lungs and you feel like you're about to die? Yeah, the epiglottis helps so that doesn't happen. Finally, the esophageal phase uses peristalsis, which are the wave-like muscle contractions that push the food into your stomach. Okay, now let's get into the nitty-gritty 3 phases of digestion, starting with the cephalic phase. This one happens before food even enters your stomach, like I said. You know, whenever you were thinking about your favorite food and your stomach starts, or your mouth starts watering? Yeah, so basically just thinking about or smelling food triggers your brain to stimulate these gastric secretions, which prepare your stomach to digest. It's like prepping it. The second phase is the gastric phase, which happens once food actually reaches your stomach. So the stomach will stretch and it releases these gastric juices like hydrochloric acid and pepsin. Pepsin is an enzyme that begins breaking down proteins, while the acid helps kill the bacteria, and this creates the perfect environment for digestion to take place. And the third phase is the intestinal phase, which of course it takes place in the small intestine. This is where the most digestion and absorption happens. The pancreas plays a huge role here by releasing digestive enzymes into the small intestine, and these enzymes include pancreatic amylase for carbohydrate breakdown, pancreatic lipase for fats, and proteases like trypsin for proteins. The small intestine also produces its own enzymes like maltase, sucrase, and lactase, which finish breaking down sugars, and peptidases that continue protein digestion. And after all these nutrients are absorbed, whatever's left over goes into the large intestine, where water is absorbed and the remaining waste becomes more solid. And this leads us to the defecation reflex. So the defecation reflex starts when feces enter the rectum and it causes it to stretch. And this stretch causes or sends signals to the spinal cord, and it triggers involuntary contractions of the rectum and relaxation of the internal anal sphincter. And at the same time, you have voluntary control over the external anal sphincter, which means you can decide when it's appropriate for you to go take a shit. When you relax that muscle, defecation will occur and the waste will be removed from your body. So overall, digestion is super coordinated, and it starts with salivation, it goes to the swallowing phases and the phases of digestion, and it ends with the defecation reflex. So each step is coordinated by both voluntary and involuntary actions, and it makes sure that your body gets the nutrients that it needs and it gets rid of what it doesn't need.